There comes a moment in every Sigma male's life when something inside him changes, quietly, permanently. It's not rage. It's not sadness. It's silence. A cold realization that he's given enough, explained enough, cared enough, and now he's done. You'll know it when it happens. His energy shifts. He stops chasing, stops arguing, stops proving. The things that once made him react now barely move him. He doesn't hate. He doesn't forgive. He simply detaches. And once he's detached, there's no coming back. Because when a Sigma male decides he's done, he doesn't announce it. He doesn't warn you. He just disappears. He walks away from everything that drains him, people, habits, emotions, and rebuilds his world in silence. Not out of weakness, but out of clarity. This isn't a man giving up. This is a man waking up. The version of him that tolerated everything dies that day, and in its place rises the man who owes no one an explanation. Stay until the end, because once you understand what happens after a Sigma decides he's done, you'll realize why his silence is more powerful than revenge. Before we begin, subscribe to Ultra Wise, like this video, and comment, "I'm done explaining." Because when a Sigma male finally reaches his limit, it's not an ending, it's the beginning of his evolution. He stops explaining and starts eliminating. The day a Sigma male decides he's done is the day explanations end. He no longer justifies his silence, his distance, or his decisions. Because he's realized that the people who truly value him never needed explanations. And the ones who demand them never deserved them. For too long, he tried to make others understand his intentions, his loyalty, his boundaries. He gave chance after chance, words after words, hoping that clarity would change behavior. But it never did. It only drained him. So now, he doesn't talk. He acts. Quietly, decisively, permanently. Is when Sigma stops explaining, because he's learned the hard truth. When people choose to misunderstand you, no amount of honesty will fix it. They don't listen to understand, they listen to manipulate. So he cuts through the noise with silence. He eliminates the conversations that go in circles, the relationships that lead nowhere, and the habits that weaken his focus. This isn't revenge, it's refinement. He's not angry, he's precise. Every elimination is an act of self-respect. Every silence is a line drawn in steel. He's not trying to prove he's right anymore. He's just choosing peace over participation. And that calmness scares people. They expect confrontation, but the signal gives them absence. He doesn't argue about boundaries, he enforces them. He doesn't warn before walking away, he simply disappears. Because a man who no longer needs to be understood becomes impossible to control. Now, his energy is sacred. He gives it only where it grows. He no longer feels guilty for cutting off what drains him. He's not cold. He's just done explaining warmth to those who stood in the fire and still complained about the heat. That's the shift. When the Sigma stops explaining, he stops wasting time. He starts removing everything that doesn't align with his peace, his mission, and his evolution. Because the strongest men don't raise their voice, they raise their standards. And once he decides to eliminate instead of explain, the world finally understands. He's not angry. He's finished. He withdraws his energy without warning. When a Sigma male decides he's done, he doesn't argue, explain, or announce it. He simply disconnects. No warnings, no long messages, no final speeches, just silence. One day his energy is there, calm, consistent, loyal, and the next, it's gone. and when it's gone, it's not coming back. That withdrawal is his final act of truth, because the Sigma knows his energy is valuable and he's done wasting it on people who don't see its worth. For too long he gave his time, his presence, and his loyalty to those who mistook it for weakness. But he's learned that the loudest goodbye is the quiet one, the one where he just stops showing up. He doesn't cut people off with anger, he fades out with clarity. His silence says everything. You had my attention, my effort, my patience, and you lost it. He doesn't owe closure to those who ignored his boundaries. His absence becomes their lesson. The Sigma's withdrawal is surgical, cold, but clean. He doesn't seek revenge. He reclaims energy. The same energy he once gave freely now goes into his goals, his peace, his evolution. He redirects it into becoming the kind of man who no longer tolerates half-effort or hidden disrespect. This confuses people who took him for granted. They expect the argument, the emotional reaction, the fight for understanding. But instead, they get silence. And that silence cuts deeper than anger ever could. Because when a Sigma male withdraws, it means his heart has already detached. He doesn't leave to make a point, he leaves because he's made peace. His focus shifts inward, his circle gets smaller, his energy gets sharper, and those who once had access to him realize too late that his presence was a privilege, not a guarantee. That's the Sigma's power. He doesn't need to slam the door, he just closes it softly and locks it forever. Because once he withdraws his energy, he's not coming back to prove anything. He's gone to rebuild, and the silence he leaves behind becomes the loudest reminder of what they lost. He stops seeking fairness. When a Sigma male decides he's done, one of the first things he lets go of is the idea of fairness. He stops expecting life, people, or the world to make sense, because he's learned that fairness is a story told to keep people hopeful, not powerful. He's seen how often good men get betrayed, loyal hearts get broken, and honest work goes unnoticed. And for a long time he tried to fight that. He gave endlessly, played by the rules, and believed that effort guaranteed respect. But life taught him otherwise. So now, he doesn't seek fairness, he seeks results. The Sigma male stops wasting energy trying to balance scales that were never meant to be fair. He doesn't cry over injustice or demand recognition. He adapts. Because he knows the truth, fairness is unpredictable, but control is not. You can't control outcomes, but you can control effort. You can't control people, but you can control boundaries. And that's where his peace begins. Once he stops expecting fairness, he stops being disappointed. He stops explaining his worth to those too blind to see it. He stops trying to fix people who don't want to change. He accepts things as they are, cold, imperfect, real, and moves accordingly. This shift changes everything. The Sigma no longer wastes time seeking emotional equality in relationships or moral justice in chaos. Instead, he becomes strategic, detached, focused on what he can influence, himself. He doesn't chase what's fair. He builds what's solid. And ironically, that detachment is what gives him balance. While others fight to be understood, he builds systems that make him unstoppable. While others complain about how unfair life is, he trains to survive it. Because he's learned that life doesn't reward fairness, it rewards awareness. The Sigma male's silence now carries understanding. Not everything that's unfair needs to be fixed. Some things just need to be left behind. He no longer wastes his fire trying to light the world. He uses it to forge his own path through the darkness. Because the day he stops seeking fairness, is the day he finally becomes free. He detaches. Emotionally, not out of hate but self-respect. When a Sigma male decides he's done, his detachment isn't driven by anger, it's born from clarity. He doesn't detach because he stopped caring. He detaches because he finally realized his peace matters more than proving his love. He's not running from emotion, he's protecting it. For too long he gave pieces of himself to people who only came close to take. He stayed loyal to situations that drained him. He fought to be understood by those who never listened. But eventually, something inside him snaps. Quietly, he realizes that the only way to heal is to distance himself from what hurts him. No matter how much he once loved it, his detachment isn't coldness, it's evolution. It's the point where empathy meets intelligence, where the Sigma stops trying to fix people who are committed to staying broken. He no longer reacts to disrespect. He no longer argues for attention. He no longer explains why he's distant, because he knows. People who truly value you never make you question it. So instead of seeking revenge, he seeks silence. Instead of demanding change, he removes access. His emotions are no longer a weapon against himself. They're under control. He feels everything, but he doesn't let it destroy his focus. That's real strength. To care deeply, but still walk away with calmness. The Sigma's detachment confuses people. They call him cold, heartless, mysterious. But what they don't see is the storm he already survived. His distance isn't rejection, it's protection. It's the quiet decision to stop watering dead plants. And once he detaches, it's final. He doesn't go back, doesn't reopen old wounds, doesn't re-explain what he already made clear. He's not avoiding connection, he's avoiding chaos. Because detachment for the Sigma male isn't about hate, it's about self-respect. It's the ultimate act of emotional maturity, choosing peace over proximity. He's not colder now, he's just smarter. And when you reach that level of calm, no one can control you again. He redirects pain into purpose. When a Sigma male decides he's done, he doesn't waste his pain. He weaponizes it. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every lonely night becomes fuel for something greater. Because he knows that pain is just raw energy, and what destroys most people can build him if he learns how to use it. He doesn't drown in heartbreak, he studies it. He dissects the lesson hidden inside it. While others complain about how unfair life has been, the Sigma turns that same pain into motivation, into silence, focus, and evolution. He refuses to let suffering go to waste. He's learned that pain has two paths, destruction or direction. One consumes you, the other refines you. The Sigma always chooses the second. Instead of asking, "Why me?" he asks, "What now?" That simple question shifts his entire reality. It turns emotional pain into mental strength, weakness into resilience, and loss into strategy. His pain becomes the architect of his discipline. The sleepless nights turn into late-night work. The heartbreak becomes the reason he trains harder, builds smarter, and thinks deeper. Every ounce of frustration becomes another brick in the foundation of the man he's becoming. He doesn't seek pity, he seeks progress. Because pity keeps you stuck in the story, but purpose rewrites it. The Sigma understands that everything he's been through was designed to shape him, not stop him. So he doesn't resist it anymore, he channels it. And that's what makes him dangerous. He doesn't just recover from pain, he reinvents himself. With it, his silence, his confidence, his calmness, all of it comes from battles no one saw, from wounds no one cared about. That's why he moves differently now. His eyes are sharper, his presence is heavier, his energy feels untouchable. Because pain didn't break him, it built the blueprint for his greatness. When the Sigma male redirects pain into purpose, he becomes something the world can't predict or control. Because nothing is more powerful than a man who has learned to turn his suffering into strength. He outgrows his old identity. There comes a point in every Sigma male's life when he looks at who he used to be and doesn't recognize him anymore. The man who once chased validation, who tolerated disrespect, who explained himself to the wrong people. He's gone, not because he was weak, but because he evolved. When a Sigma decides he's done, it's not just with people. It's with the version of himself that accepted less than he deserved. He outgrows the mindset that kept him small, the emotions that kept him trapped, and the habits that kept him distracted. He sheds them quietly, like old skin. This process isn't loud. There's no celebration, no announcement, no post about changing. It happens in silence. One day he just wakes up different. His focus sharpens, his circle tightens, his tolerance shrinks. What used to entertain him now feels meaningless. What used to hurt him now feels irrelevant. He's learned that growth isn't about adding more. It's about letting go. Letting go of who he was told to be, letting go of approval, letting go of the emotional chaos that once defined him, because to become who he's meant to be, he has to bury the man he once was. And that's what most people don't understand. When a Sigma male evolves, he doesn't look back. He doesn't explain the shift or apologize for the distance. He's not being arrogant. He's being reborn. His silence becomes his transformation space. His isolation becomes the forge where the new version of himself is created. Stronger, wiser, colder, and infinitely more focused. Outgrowing his old identity means walking away from everything that feels comfortable but stagnant. It means embracing the discomfort that comes with real evolution. And once he outgrows who he used to be, he never returns, because he knows that the cost of staying the same is far greater than the pain of change. The Sigma male's transformation isn't visible, it's felt. In his presence, in his calm, in his distance. Because when a man truly evolves, the old version of him doesn't survive the process. He buries him quietly and never visits the grave again. He no longer needs validation or revenge. The day a Sigma male decides he's done, something powerful happens inside him. He stops needing anyone to notice, understand, or regret losing him. He no longer craves validation, and he no longer dreams of revenge. Because both come from the same place, attachment. And the Sigma has outgrown that. He's realized that seeking validation means you still want to be seen by people who once ignored your worth. Seeking revenge means you still care what they think. And he's done giving his energy to anything that small. His silence now is a separation from the game entirely. He doesn't post his progress to prove a point. He doesn't chase recognition to feel complete. He doesn't need people to apologize, to admit they were wrong, or to come back. That version of him, the one who wanted to be understood, is gone. The Sigma male has learned that validation and revenge are both emotional debts that keep you tied to what hurt you. And he's done paying for something he's already outgrown. His peace is no longer negotiable. His success is personal, not performative. Instead of trying to show them what they lost, he focuses on what he's building. He channels that energy into self-mastery, discipline, and peace. Because nothing punishes the past more than progress that doesn't look back. He no longer needs the world to clap. He's clapping for himself now. The approval he once sought from others now comes from silence, focus, and consistency. That's what makes him untouchable. His worth no longer depends on external noise. And revenge? He's learned it's unnecessary. Time exposes everything. Silence humiliates louder than anger ever could. His absence becomes his statement, and his peace becomes his proof. This is the final level of detachment. When you no longer seek validation or revenge, you reach emotional freedom. You no longer need to prove your power because you've become it. The Sigma male's peace is louder than his pain, his growth deeper than his grudges, because the man who stops needing to be seen is finally seen by everyone. He walks away and never looks back. When a Sigma male decides he's done, his goodbye is silent, but permanent. He doesn't make a scene, doesn't announce his exit, and doesn't look for closure. He simply walks away and never looks back. That's because he's learned the truth most people never accept. Real peace begins the moment you stop revisiting what hurt you. The Sigma doesn't walk away to make a point. He walks away to protect his soul. He knows that returning to chaos only delays healing, so he chooses distance, not as escape, but as elevation. He's done explaining why he left, done waiting for apologies that won't come, done reopening doors that lead to the same pain. His silence is not indifference, it's understanding. He finally sees people and situations for what they are, not what he hoped they'd be. And with that clarity comes peace. When he walks away, it's not just from people, it's from versions of himself that tolerated less than he deserved. He leaves behind his old wounds, his old mistakes, his old need to be understood. What once kept him attached now feels like chains. And he's cutting every one of them. The Sigma male doesn't chase closure, he creates it. His calmness is his revenge. His absence is his message. Because nothing says, "I'm done," louder than indifference. People will notice his silence long after he's gone. They'll replay the last conversation, wondering what changed, not realizing it wasn't a moment that ended things, it was time. Time revealed the truth, and the Sigma finally listened. He doesn't check if they miss him. He doesn't stalk, compare, or regret. He just moves on with quiet confidence and clean energy, because he knows that when you've truly healed, the past loses all power over you. The Sigma male walks away not to prove he's strong, but because he no longer needs to prove anything at all. And once he's gone, you'll never get that version of him back. Not because he hates you, but because he finally loves himself enough to never return. When a Sigma male decides he's done, it's not a moment of weakness, it's the birth of strength. He doesn't explode, he doesn't beg, he doesn't fight for what's already lost. He simply understands, and understanding changes everything. He stops explaining, he stops expecting, he stops chasing what was never meant for him. And in that silence, something powerful happens. Peace. The kind that doesn't depend on people, validation, or closure. The kind that comes from knowing you gave your best and walked away with your dignity intact. The Sigma male's goodbye is never loud, but it echoes forever. Because when he leaves, he doesn't take revenge, he takes his energy. And that's what everyone feels once he's gone. His absence becomes the reminder of his worth. The truth is, he never leaves out of hate. He leaves out of self-respect, out of love for his peace, out of loyalty to the man he's becoming. And once he walks away, there's no turning back, because he's finally free from everything that once drained him. If you've ever reached that point, if you've ever walked away from what no longer deserved you, remember this: you didn't lose anything, you found yourself. So stay silent, stay focused, stay evolving. Because the Sigma male never seeks closure from others, he builds it within. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to UltraWise, like this video, and comment, "I'm done chasing peace. I'm becoming it." Because when a Sigma male finally decides he's done, he doesn't end his story, he begins his legacy.